BFs, even Stevens and Fades. Troops, Lottos, and BKs, those was the days. High-tech boots, spray painted with your names. T-shirts, airbrush, they read the same. Thick herringbone chain. One go with your initial. Harry's photos, group shots, can you remember? Barry him, told his bitch, go to the prime and die. Didn't lie, shot himself in the head with the 4-5. When she disobeyed, had North Clayton craze, just to reiterate, dog, those was the days. For the invasions of haters, man, crews from all around used to get down in true flavors. Bumping kilo, rocking damage, cross color and Paco. While Playboy stepped in talent shows, prom night, Tux and Kango was so cool. Fucking new model cars, we riding old school.
We were trying so hard to survive. Cause even though we were young, we had to stay strong. No matter what we went through, it was me and my crew. And that's how it went when we were kids.
In 3 months we stayed in Jamestown, Hamwood and Diplomats. Played with Transformers, G.I. Joes and Thundercats. We was loving that before the start of Jackie Jacks. For notes on Red Oaks, had folks scared to come through College Park after dark. Crown Victoria's police unmarked cars. Be aware, Wayne Williams was out there, but we ain't care. Kids was getting stabbed and ditched out there, too busy playing. Double dare you touch shawty on the ass, that's a bet. Want your Kool-Aid and sugar, smack your hands and say sweat. It's mine now, place it in my Louis Vuitton pouch. Thump a nigga on his knuckles, make him say ouch. Slouch socks, box Chevy Caprice, hot knees, cut the hole, disturbing the peace with no conscience. Broke niggas call them nonsense, no comments. It's Lil Fate paying homage to College Park.
So hard to survive. Cause even though we were young, we had to stay strong. No matter what we went through, it was me and my crew. And that's how it went when we were kids.
I had a long john but no silver, no gold or plat. I was simply red from the years I've been holding back. With 2 sides to a book, I lick stamps and light matches and set fires in garbage pails and cabbage patches. A child of the corn, been wild since I was born. Climbing over barbed wire, clothes got torn. Shoes got muddy and my clique turned cruddy. Wherever I go, they went, they my buddies. I brush teeth, brush naps and comb streets, dreaming of Cadillacs, wood wheels and plush seats. Cats with gold teeth and raps with such beats. Max with no grief and some sacks of green leaf. When I loaded my cap gun, I was ready for action. Staring at beer cans in the moment to crack one. Wanna hang with the big boys and play with the big toys and be with the people making all that goddamn noise.
We were trying so hard to survive. Cause even though we were young, we had to stay strong. No matter what we went through, it was me and my crew. And that's how it went when we were kids. We were trying so hard to survive. Cause even though we were young, we had to stay strong. No matter what we went through, it was me and my crew. And that's how it went when we were kids.
Howdy, you're listening to Nobles in the Pinhead.
Welcome back, fantasy players, hustlers, and grinders. Week 15 and 16 have passed. They're in the book, and the Pinhead and I are back live. We apologize for our absence last week as we both were under the weather, but we are up to the challenge tonight, and we're going to make it happen for you. Unfortunately, Stat G is not going to be here with us tonight, but I'm here with my right-hand man, the bearded wonder, Kernersville's own. He's the pride of North Kakalaki. He's the Pinhead, a.k.a. Evil Mad, a.k.a. put some stank on it.
Ooh, I hear you, man. I'm happy to be back. Happy to not feel terrible. I blame all you out there who came and saw me at work and whatnot and visited me at home because I got it from somebody.
It might have been me.
It might have been.
It might have been me, man. And as always, I'm your host with the most of pride of North Kakalaki, Reggie Nobles.
He's a.k.a. the reformed Ebenezer Scrooge of Kernersville. I'm talking Christmas Day Scrooge. He sent me down to Mustang Crutchfield and told me to get the biggest goose in the window. It's wild. It's a whole new person. Not sure I know who I'm looking at.
That's right, man. I appreciate you doing that for me, brother.
Yeah, man, no problem. It's just three shillings.
Did you have a good Christmas?
I did. I had a good Christmas, man. It was low key, but it was nice. Got to see my grandparents, and that's always a good thing. My grandma lets me know that she listens to the podcast every week until we start talking about football. So I told her she's in luck as the football is coming to a close.
It really is, man. It's sad, man. You know, we wait so long for it, man, and then just like that, man.
Yeah, it's
gone,
over. I want to give a big shout out to Josh Beck, the owner of the Smithereens. He won our Super Bowl in the AWFL. He won it in honor of Al Smith. Really cool deal there. I feel bad for my boy Jason Kelly. He couldn't come up with the back-to-back victories, but congratulations to Josh.
And with that said, man, we'll congratulate Rob Scott. The Warriors have got their second championship, knocking out the power bomb. Jeff Kennedy, first year in the league. Congrats to him for making it so far, but it was a pretty good game. I tell you, that team, man, they struggled all year long to score, but somehow they won 11 games. Being one of the lowest scoring teams, they got in the playoffs, dude, and showed out.
Yeah, well, good for him, man. That's how it happens sometimes.
It is, man. It is, man. And I was joking, you know, I'm our, excuse me, I'm the league's commissioner. I was joking with him. I said, man, you know, next year, maybe I'm just have to study the schedule a little harder before I put it together.
Yeah, really.
You know, being one of the league's not top scorer, but been in that top, you know, tier and not making it to the playoffs really sucks.
Yeah, man. I had a snake bit kind of year, too. Yeah. So we just had to try to get it back together next year. It's one of those things, man. There's a lot of luck involved.
All right. Well, we appreciate everybody's support, man. Everybody download, sharing, and all of that good stuff each and every week, helping us grow this podcast. And as we always do, tonight we promise tonight's episode will be the best to date. So, Lego. On tonight's episode, Pinhead and I, we're going to divvy out some crazy news. Josh Gordon got suspended. We didn't get to talk about that last week. Can't put down the weed. But he won't pass it to me. And college football playoffs, man. What do you guys think about that? Well, we'll talk a little bit about just some shenanigans here. The NFL Network is doing something really cool. Penn and I didn't really get to talk about this before the show, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. You know, they're doing the top 100 NFL players.
Mm-hmm. I've seen some of that.
Yeah, I've got a list here, man. You'll be shocked where some of these guys fall. Have you looked at the list? Mm-mm. We'll just dive into it a little bit, man. And,
Already?
And, you know, we can kind of kick it from there. Be sure to check out Blurred Lines with our favorite handicapper, JP. We'll go over the MPI. We'll kind of do a shared thing since, I mean, it is what it is at this point. We kind of know who's in. We'll reveal last week's results as I done it. And then we've got week 17 picks. There's really not much fantasy going on this week unless you're doing daily fantasy. So we're not really going to beat the fantasy horse this week. But
nah, I think you should be done. If your league's still playing this week, then your league's wrong.
Our first year we did it, we had our championship in week 17.
And realized quickly
we shouldn't do that.
You were wrong. Right. Exactly.
Well, this isn't the team that got me here, you know.
Right. Exactly. Okay, well, cool. Well, let's rifle through some of those games then, because some of them, instead of taking notes, I'm going to talk about medieval torture devices, which to me would be much more entertaining than talking about these football games.
So you want to just jump into the games? You want to talk about
No, we don't have to. But I'm just saying when we do, sometimes I'm not going to be talking about football.
Okay. Well, man, let's kick it off with some crazy news here, man. I got a story I wanted to share with you real quick. Let me pull this thing up.
I had a real quick one, man. Some sad news. I just heard on the news tonight, that the famed Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, in Gay Paris, has barely a 50% chance to survive the reconstruction from the fire earlier this year. They say that now some of the scaffolding that they built for the repairs is threatening the dome, the iconic, gorgeous dome, and that's pretty sad stuff. Man, anytime you lose something that's just part of humanity's history for so long, that's kind of sad. So let's hope that the good 50 prevails and they're able to rebuild that rascal. I'm sure they will get some with this outcry on the news, I'm sure they'll get the attention of a few architects and engineers, and maybe that they haven't talked to yet, and they'll come reach out with some new ideas.
Yeah, that'd be cool, man. Well, that does suck, man. That's crazy, man. Well, man, in one of the most funniest news stories I've heard this year, a radio worker accidentally got high on 50-year-old LSD.
50-year-old LSD. This was the first batch. the first, it was the Jesus batch.
Well, he was cleaning some old and evidently contaminated equipment. Let's see, the gentleman, they didn't name him. He was a worker for KPX Channel 5. He's their operation manager. Was cleaning a Buchla Model 100 synthesizer from inside a dark closet that had been stored inside a dark closet at the University of East Bay in San Francisco.
San Francisco, that makes perfect sense.
So he had been eagerly trying to salvage a lot of that equipment, and as he was cleaning it off, wiping it off, he started to feel bizarre, a strange buzz. And about 45 minutes later, he said, I felt like I was tripping on LSD.
How correct he was.
How correct he was. He noticed he had a tingling sensation, and what it turned out is, apparently, if you store LSD in the right damp, dark conditions, it'll last for 50 years.
At least.
At least.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
So
that's something. I was wondering if we went down to Haight-Ashbury. It would just be normal there. It wouldn't even be a thing.
Right. Well, there have been rumors on the campus that radio operators back in the 60s dipped their fingers in LSD and touched their musical devices for inspiration.
Sure.
So apparently he got a hold of a synthesizer, which was one of the hottest equipment in that area, pieces of equipment in that area. Era.
Yeah, now they used the synthesizer a lot back then, but that's crazy, man. Who would have thought?
Yeah. But anyway, his wife and him both found it amusing. And
well, he sounds like he's no stranger to it. If he's like, I felt like I was tripping.
Right.
Well, you pretty much nailed it.
He said it was a lovely way of connecting with San Francisco Bay Area's psychedelic history.
Well, good for him. I'm glad he had a good time.
9 hours he tripped. 9 hours, man.
Yikes.
So yeah, I thought that was kind of crazy stuff.
That is crazy, man. I noticed we were here toward the end of the year, so I decided I was going to look back on and I found just a handful of my favorite headlines from this past year involving our favorite person, Florida man.
A Florida man, absolutely.
Right. Okay, so the first one come from January 7th. Florida man denies syringes found in his rectum are his.
He denied that they were his.
He denied, they're not mine.
Yeah,
okay. I think that they say that possession is 9/10 of the law.
They're yours now, buddy.
I think it's 10/10 if they're in your butt.
If they weren't yours, they are now.
Right, no doubt. Okay, another one from I just did the first part of the year, so I'm gonna save the rest as we unfold the new year. I'm gonna bring out some more Florida, but from January 14th, Florida man threatens to kill man with kindness. Uses machete he nicknamed Kindness. Yeah. So he made good on that. He chopped him up. That's some stuff there. Florida's wild. I'm gonna jump all the way down to January 28th. Florida man learns the hard way he stole laxatives, not opioids. The hard way. he learned the hard way. I love that. And the very next day, Florida man accused of robbing Chinese restaurant at Finger Point. some tough security there in that Chinese restaurant, man. Yeah, they can't scare them off with your finger. Okay, from February 9th, we have this gem. Florida woman's maternity photo includes alligator, shotgun, and Bud Light. That's good. That's one of the better gender. At least nobody got hurt that we know of.
What was the gator for, though?
I mean, clearly, it's a Florida. Yes, that's a thing for these people, man. They're about. I don't mean to call you these people, Florida fans, but you know what I mean. Okay, from February 20th, Florida man fights off coyote with coffee cup. Quoted as saying, "I smashed him." A coyote. All right, just a couple more for you here, man. On March the 3rd, Florida man rescues grandma floating away on ice throne. What a great headline. I didn't even read the story on that. I don't want to spoil it. Like
Right, it can't get any better than the headline.
Right. What's in my mind is already just fantastic. I don't think it can get any better. The very next day, Florida man arrested after fight about Tupac Shakur.
Did he win the fight?
I don't know, man. He's just starting things up. What could that be about, you know?
Maybe he thinks Pac's still alive, man, and he's willing to die for it. Or fight for it, even.
At least fight for it. I guess so. You might be right, man. And finally, on March 11th, a Florida man accused of intentionally pressure washing his neighbor. I don't know if it was because the neighbor needed washing or what, but those were just a few of my favorite headlines from Florida from this past year.
Maybe his neighbor really was from Florida and he just lived there.
Right. He's like, we need to hose this guy down.
Right.
Because this wouldn't fly back home.
Right, exactly.
That's the way I like to look at it.
Right. Well, you remember that story we had? I think it was a BBT up in Pennsylvania where they had deposited a couple $100,000 into that couple's account. Mm-hmm. Well, not to be outdone, a bank in Dallas deposited over $37 million into a woman's account. She said she looked at her account and was like, wow. Immediately called her husband and told him about the misfortune. She said, for a moment, we were millionaires. And the first call that they made was to the bank. Now, that story, the only thing that's really cool about that story was at the end of the article, it says a New York man was sentenced to probation in 2010 when $5 million was mistakenly deposited in his account and he spent it.
He got probation.
They turned it in.
Right.
I would do probation as a millionaire.
Well, that's in New York, though. You were talking Texas before, right?
True.
It's a whole world away.
True.
You know, I think we've talked before about our buddy Plexico Burris. He shot himself in the leg in New York and went to prison for 2 years. If he does that in Texas, they laugh at him.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, the laws are vastly different. You might not get away with it. They take stealing real serious in Texas. You know, guns not so much.
Right.
No, theft.
We handle it with guns.
Right. So I don't know, man, but no, but that's for all the people listening that might be in New York. If you get a bank error in your favor,
move to New York immediately.
Yes, go to town.
Right.
Go to Macy's.
Yeah, get a new license, buy a house, establish residency, and get probation.
I'm no fan of banks anyway, man. I think if you can fleece them, fleece them.
Can you imagine how cool my probation officer would be if I was a millionaire? I mean, he'd come out of the house, I'd slap him a G, smoke a joint with him.
Right.
You know? Hey, dude, man, you've been working hard, man. Here's a tip, man. And hit the blunt, you know.
Oh man, that is crazy though. These banks, it just amazes me that one bank in Texas would have $34 million that they can just move around in their books. You know, that's just crazy.
The mistake happens with people entering in bad numbers. I believe is what she said. So it was supposed to be a transaction for like 37,000.
And she hit too many zeros.
And she hit too many zeros.
She watched Channel Zero. I guarantee, because that's terrible. But yeah, that would be great. I'd love to wake up. I'd be a millionaire, but I'd commence to spending immediately.
Yeah. All right, I got one more for you, man. Let's see. Where is this story at? It doesn't give me a state, so we're just going to say it's from Florida.
Probably.
Okay. And it's a man tried to invade an 82-year-old woman's house and got beat up. That's right. Man knocks on the door, asks for assistance. As the lady comes to the door, he bum rushes the door, not to realize that the 82-year-old woman was a bodybuilding champion. Her name is Willie Murphy.
Okay. All right.
Here's a picture of Willie showing her guns.
Okay. I get it now. And so Willie went to town.
Willie went to town. She hit him with a table, splitting the table into two. After the table had split in two and she hit him several other times, she held onto the leg and beat him repeatedly. Then she sprayed baby shampoo into his face and subdued the guy. She then tried to drag him out the house but was unsuccessful. Now it says here that Murphy in her heyday could deadlift 225 pounds, but at 82.
Right, that's probably come down a bit.
Right, so... Anyway, long story short, the man was saved when a local police officer heard the skirmish and came in to rescue him.
It sounded like she was just waiting to punch something. Yeah, like, thank God this guy came. I've been holding this back for 30 years.
I mean, first off, man, you shouldn't be robbing, invading people anyway. So it serves you right. And can you imagine what happens when you're in jail and people learn that you're that guy?
Right.
You're going to be quickly somebody's guy.
Yeah, you'll be popular.
Very popular. You can't beat up an 82-year-old woman.
She was a tough-looking gal, though, man. I give her that. Tough-looking gal.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir, man. You got anything else newsworthy?
No,
man?
that's all. I did see one little quick story about an Amazon delivery guy that he brought the package, set it down on somebody's porch, took a picture of it to confirm delivery, and then picked it right up and stole it. All captured on camera. And it begs a bunch of questions, but the whole reason it made the news was that when the police department got a hold of the video and they contacted Amazon, Amazon was unwilling to work with them. They wouldn't tell them the driver's name. They said, they were like really, I don't know, really kind of shady about the whole thing. But you can look that up. That was just out on the news this evening as well.
Was in Florida too.
Probably, yeah. But you know, everybody getting everything set at their front door during this time of season, that's a big deal for those porch pirates, man.
Yeah, man.
But you don't expect it to be the guy that brought it to you.
Right. Right, man. I had someone steal something off my porch last year. It was a one of those Echoes. Mm-hmm. I bought my daughter one, my youngest daughter one. And you get the text message saying that the package had been delivered from Amazon. So I come home that evening and it wasn't there. And, I look into the app because sometimes they'll deliver stuff that, like, they might leave it at a neighbor's house or at an office or something like that, No clue said it was left on my doorstep. Just never came. So I ended up, contacting Amazon. They sent it out. Came about 2 days later. So maybe, I don't know when I got it, that weekend, I get a knock on my door, and there's a lady at my door with a kid. I don't know either one of them, and she goes, "Hey, I'm sorry, but my kid took this off your porch. He stole it." All right. And he had actually tried to get her to help him get it on Wi-Fi, but what happened when they sent me out the new one, they blocked that one, so it wouldn't work. It was just a paperweight at that point.
All right.
So I called Amazon. I'm like, "Hey, listen, this is what happened." And they're like, they told me, "Throw it away." And I was like, "Well, I'll just keep it. Can you turn it back on?" They said no. They told me that I could buy it and they would turn it back on.
Oh, okay.
But I could throw it away.
Huh. Well, that's odd, isn't it?
It's very odd. I was like, but
I guess that's just a policy to discourage people from pulling that
scam.
Yeah, because they hear you say that now, and they're like, "Well, no use in doing that." So
right.
I get it, but it's odd just to throw away our piece of technology instead of use it.
Right.
Know?
I mean, they didn't say send it back. I mean, they said throw it away.
Yeah, I get it. You know, if you hear you could get two of them for the price of one.
Well, no doubt. But
a lot of people would.
But again, sending it back wasn't their first option.
Yeah, you would think, send it back to us.
Right. They have a free return policy on everything within 30 days. So all you have to do is print out the label, and which is with as much shipping as they do. But throw it away. But anyway.
Wow. Huh.
So we threw that thing away because I wasn't going to pay to get it on. I didn't need it, So.
Gotcha.
But anyway, that's my Amazon experience, man. Let's talk about some NFL crazy news, man. Where you want to go? You want to talk about Josh? We didn't talk about Josh last week.
Yeah, poor old Josh. He just can't get right.
Well, I can't remember. I guess it was week 1 or week 2. We said the over-under for that guy to be, 8 games?
Yeah.
And he made it over.
Yeah.
But he didn't disappoint.
No. Did he play in more than 8 games?
Now, I don't think he did.
I don't either.
I don't think he did that, so, but man.
I drafted him on high upside in the 3rd round of we have a 6-keeper league, so it's really about the 9th round, but just took a flyer on his talent at that point, and it didn't take long before he was no longer a part of my team.
Yeah, that's sad, though, man. I mean, he got popped for both PEDs and substance abuse.
Yeah, he just, I can't imagine who would want to take a chance on him now.
This is his 6th suspension, 6th violation.
That's enough, dude.
God almighty. Not 2nd, not 3rd, 6th.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, my heart goes out to the kid because, it's been noted that he has, behavioral or mental issues, mental health issues. And, you know, I can dig it, but Jesus Christ, man, get it together.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's ever going to be able to get it together.
No, such a waste of talent, man. I mean, we talked about it on this very here show. You know, at the beginning of his career, you know, he was on pace to be, you know,
Hall of Fame type.
Yeah. Your words exactly. So, anyway, what do you think about Beast Mode coming back into the league?
Well, you know, from a purely football standpoint, I don't think much of it at all. But just being who he is, and maybe the infusion of exuberance and excitement will be a little factor for them in this game this week. I don't know that it'd carry over into multiple weeks. I think it'll be. We'll see how it goes. I don't worry all that much about him not being in shape because he just is in shape.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he just is just a rock.
Did you see that training video?
Yeah. I mean, that guy's pretty solid. So, but he's still going to be rusty, and you know, not a whole lot of time to work in any kinks. It should just be pretty much standard run plays with him. Mm-hmm. But maybe the toughness he provides and the, you know, just being an old Seahawk from when they were good, really good, and winning Super Bowls and whatnot. You know, maybe that'll rub off on some of the newer guys and give them a little lift here in the short term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting, man. I like Beast Mode, one of my favorite players. You know,
he's awesome, man. He's fun to watch.
He's funny. He's a character. I mean, you know, and he is fun to watch, man. He's got some of the best stiff arms we've ever seen.
The Beast Quake, one of the best runs of all time.
Yeah.
Fun to watch, man.
You know, I'm excited to see what he does, man, because. You know,
do you think he scores this weekend?
This is going to be a tough game for him. However, San Francisco has struggled with mobile quarterbacks. I mean, if you look at the statistics, they're overwhelmingly bad against mobile quarterbacks outside of the Breeze or the Saints game. You know, that is, you know, but I think he's going to punch. I think he's going to punch one in. I think they're going to feed it to him. I think, you know, Pete Carroll's a guy who will play to his ego and would like to get him involved. And I think that if he can get Marshawn involved, I think that can maybe fuel some excitement for the team itself.
Yeah, I kind of believe that too.
You know, so I can see him punching it in, man. And then they also brought in, what's the cat's name, man? Turbin?
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah.
Well, they just were decimated at the running back position, so they had to do something.
Mm-hmm.
It's still not good. It's still not going to. I mean, nothing that they did is in any way an upgrade over what they had when they were healthy. It's that's, I don't know, man. I think just the lack of running backs going into the playoffs it just bodes poorly for Seattle.
I mean, to lose both Penny and Carson to IR this late in the season. I mean, Carson was having a bang up.
He was. I don't see how they make that up.
I really don't either. I don't either, man. So. What do you think about college playoffs, man? I know we've talked about this in passing, man. Out of the four, who do you see hoisting the trophy this year?
Well, I look for the championship game to be full of Tigers. I think I like LSU and Clemson. I think I just think Clemson's defense going against a quarterback at Ohio State that is admitted, you know, he's about 80%. The game is coming up, man. You know, I just don't see Clemson's defense losing to a quarterback that's anything less than 100% at all.
Right.
You know, and then I think that I think LSU will be just too much in the trenches for Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma has playmakers and they have athletes. I don't know that they can slug in the trenches with a team like LSU. Mm-hmm. So that makes them the pick there. And for me, the championship. The two teams are pretty close. I know people talk about Clemson not having played anybody, but they played everybody on their schedule and beat them all. And to me, they passed the eye test. I mean, we know who they are. We know they show up every year in this Final Four and commence to beating people. So, I mean, it's not going to be they're not good. Well, they are good.
Well, they say that every year. They never play anybody.
Right. Well,
they come to the ACC every year.
Right.
They never play anybody.
And then they come to the Final Four and beat them.
And stunt. Yeah.
Right. So I like them.
Dadgummit.
I like them to win the thing. I like Clemson to win the thing over LSU, mostly because I think the defining difference in these teams is that Clemson, I think, has the best defense. Mm-hmm. I think every one of these teams can score. There's no question about that. But I just think that Clemson's defense will be the difference.
Okay.
Not being an ACC homer at all.
I don't disagree one bit with anything that you said. I think the closest game actually is going to be the Oklahoma LSU game. I think every game outside of that is just going to be one-sided.
Yeah, I kind of do too. I do too, man.
I wouldn't be shocked if Oklahoma pulled off that LSU game, but I wouldn't pick against the LSU.
No, I wouldn't either. No, I wouldn't be shocked at that either.
I mean, seeing it,
because they can score.
Yeah.
They can score, and you get one or two timely turnovers. It's football, man. Anything can happen.
Right.
That's why we play the game.
Right. I mean, one bad injury. I mean, anything happens. But that kid Burrows looked just too good. This year his completion rate is through the roof. That team, they're just full of studs, man. I don't see anything wrong with what you said there, man. So I guess that ain't gonna be much of a conversation as we just agree on that, man.
Yeah, it's strange too, man. I when they first laid out the Final Four, I thought about it, and then Clemson was my pick, and I didn't think that very many people would pick them in the media, But lately, I've been seeing a whole bunch of people picking them. I thought maybe that would be a little bit of a surprise, but it hasn't turned out that way.
No, I mean, like you said, they passed the eye test, and I think at running back, the best running back in the playoff is Etienne.
Yeah, he may be. If LR, Clyde, whatever his last name is for LSU, if he's fully healthy, he may not play. And that is a big deal because he is a beast. Right. He's a guy that fantasy owners will look for at the next level. Plus his name's Clyde, man. They don't make too many softies named Clyde, You gotta like that.
I got an uncle named Clyde.
Is he a softie?
Nah, that dude.
Yeah, I guarantee.
He had a deer on a motorcycle.
I thought you were going to say with his fist.
Nah, he had a deer on a motorcycle, picked the bike up and dusted himself, all type stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're right, man. Clyde's one of those names, man. If they name you Clyde, you got to come with it.
That's true, and that guy does. He packs a big punch. He reminds me a little bit of a Maurice Jones-Drew kind of guy. Low center of gravity and just insane leg drive.
Right, but I mean, being that though, he has been played banged up. Again, that's why I say Etienne is the best.
Well, Clemson as a whole is in the best shape physically. They're rested and ready. I like them. I like them in this first round a whole lot. Man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Okay, man. Well, man, what do you want to do here, man? You want to talk a little bit
Let's talk about your top 10.
The top 10?
Because that's all that counts now. Ain't no reason to go down into the depth below that.
Yeah, no.
You got your top 10. I got to imagine that we're going to see Baltimore right up at the top.
Baltimore. What the hell is the top 10?
They should be the number one.
They are the number one.
Of course they are.
They are the number one. And a terrible mistake here. Okay.
A horrible mistake was made.
Look, we'll come back to that because this is last week's.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. We didn't do the show last week. I printed off the wrong one. Let's see. I might be able to dumb through this. I mean, Baltimore's going to be 1.
Yeah.
Saints are going to be 2.
Ooh.
Let's see. No, I'm going to have to put some thought in that. Let me see if I can pull up.
You got to have a rapidly rising Chiefs team.
Well, I had the Chiefs going into week 16 as the 5.
Boy, they're better than that to me.
Well, I mean, that was going into last week. You know what I mean?
I get you.
So I'm just going to have the out. I mean, they wouldn't be more than maybe 4 in my opinion. And I know we had this conversation earlier. I would have Baltimore 1, the Saints 2. Green Bay 3, Kansas City 4,
49ers
5, New England 6. Let's see.
Bills 7.
I would have the Bills definitely number 7, Seattle number 8, Minnesota number 9,
and
Houston. And then Houston outside looking in because they should get into the playoffs this week.
They got it. They locked it in last week.
They locked it. I'm sorry.
That Titans game means nothing this week.
For them.
For them. I don't know if it means anything for the Titans or not.
It does because the Titans and the Steelers are fighting for that last wild card.
So the Titans need the Steelers to lose.
And the Titans need to win.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah, because they're both 9 and 6.
Well, let's dive into this week 17 here.
7. Okay.
Because people's fantasy, they're just let down. They've got a big fantasy hangover. You know, so I'm gonna talk about all kind of fun stuff.
I will tell you this though, man. My hatred for Matthew Berry has subsided as I now have realized the preparation that it takes to do a show every week.
Matthew Berry has a staff.
Well, okay.
So
Then,
continue to hate.
Well, F you then, Matthew.
Right.
Say, look, I was going to give you some props, you know, and then old Pinhead, that's why he's my buddy. He brought me back down to reality. You ain't ish, you know.
No.
Man, I went back and we talk about last week's games, man, real quick. I just wrote that down here.
There is an opening in my football league coming up. Teams rarely leave. We got a team leaving this year. It was actually a playoff team. We only take 4 out of 12 to the playoffs. We got one. We got a spot open. We're trying to fill. If Matthew Berry wants it, he's more than welcome to jump on in.
Yeah, I think Nobles is going to try to join.
That'd be great.
I'm going to try, and then I think we're going to, because the name of your team is awful, right?
The league.
The league, I'm sorry.
It's the Average White Football League.
Right, so we're trying to be the first minority team owner.
Right. Well, we just accepted our first woman a few years ago.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's fine, man.
Freaking groundbreaking.
It wasn't ever meant to be a comment on race. It was more of a thing back in the 70s where they just talked about bland things, things with no express flavor to them. Where this is the average white band. This is the average white bread. It was a saying, but it also more than anything it equated to AWFL, which is awful, which was really cool. So yeah, but no, we'd love to have you, man. I'd love to have you in the league. It'd be cool because we could we'd have fun the weeks we play each other on the podcast too.
Absolutely, man. I look forward to being in a dynasty league as I play in the keeper league, and there's huge difference there.
There's a big difference.
Huge difference in
a whole lot more rookie mania in my league. You just really got to watch a lot of college ball and this and that.
Yeah, man. So I'd definitely love to do that, man. But let's talk about where we're at far as our picks this year. So last week, even though we didn't do the podcast, we all turned in our picks. Let's see. I led the way at 13-3. I think that was my second week hitting 13. I've kind of caught fire here of late. Then both of you and Stat tied at 9-7. So the way that this thing is shaping out, let's see, Stat is bringing up the rear, which I knew he would, at 141 and 98. We've all got that one tie. You have 142 and 97, so you have a 1-game lead on him. And I'm thinking that 0 that he's going to post this week.
I should get at least 1 or 2 out of that.
If we can't get his games in, And then I've got a commanding 10-game lead over him, 9 over you at 151 and 88 after a few good weeks here in a row. So, yeah, man, the Nobles has been on fire here picking these games, man.
You have, man. You've been really good lately.
Well,
I got to say that for those of you that listen to our ACC basketball podcast, I got to break down my favorite team, the Blue Devils, and although I didn't have them at number 1 on my list, I had Louisville, but I did say that team would never reach any type of real success without playing Joey Baker. And we've been playing Joey Buckets, and he has been scoring. He is by far our best shooter.
Is that something you trying to get to catch on?
I heard it on Duke Radio.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never heard it. And I thought it was cute though.
Yeah.
I did. I was like, that's kind of cool.
Well, he can shoot it, man, and that's what that team needs. So I just want to pat my own self on the back, even though I'm not going to catch you in picking football games.
And to your credit, you also made the note that if the Heels lose Cole Anthony, boy, they're going to be hurt. And then, Jesus, 4 to 6 weeks, man.
No team depends on one man more in the ACC. That's for sure.
The best game that we've had this year was the UCLA game.
I thought you played better against Gonzaga. I really did.
We had flashes.
UCLA is not good.
Well, no, I guess they're not really, but I mean,
Gonzaga is good.
Right.
And you guys played. You stood up. You were out all the way out across the country at their place. Wasn't a whole lot of Tar Heel fans in there, and I thought they showed really well in that game. But it didn't translate into a win. But that's again without Anthony. You're not gonna. There's nothing you could do with that roster that's going to translate into a whole bunch of wins without that guy.
No,
You know, that guy's the key, man.
You know, I don't want to say I'm disappointed. I guess, you know.
Well, when you lose a player like that, it's tremendously disappointing. Last year for me, losing Zion was like, damn, they just took the wind out of the sails. You know?
Right.
More so than anything else. Just
right. Well, I didn't expect. I mean, you know, we always expect. Okay, let me take that back. We always expect our team to be around come March, right?
Absolutely.
But then there's also an expectation of a championship versus just a good team. And I thought we were just going to be a good team. And I thought we were going to be good enough in the ACC where we'd at least be in the top 5, which is still not out of the question. But
it's not.
You know, I mean, heck, I didn't know where we were going to land. And like I said, Miss Rachel's in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Miss Rachel. That's my strip club name voice. But yeah, I'm not disappointed, man, with how it's played out. I mean, it just is what it is. When you lose 6 players, 5 of your top 5 scorers, you know, you're gonna have a year like this. You know, when you're relying on a one and done talent.
It happens. It's sad. It's, I guess, more even than Zion. It's more kind of like a Kyrie Irving kind of thing that I had to sit through. It really took a lot of the wind out of the sails that season too. You know, when you got a guy that's. You know how good he is, you know, and Cole Anthony's that kind of guy. You know how good he is, and to play without him.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't know how good Kyrie was until Kyrie got into the NBA. Well, I mean, what did he play? 10, 12 games?
Yeah. Well, when they brought him back in the tournament, though, you could kind of see it, man. He scored 30 in that game.
Sure.
You know, they lost.
Sure, but I mean, Joe Forte, was a baller in college. Didn't translate over to the NBA. So, you know what I mean? Like, I did, and my hats off to everybody who saw it. I mean, the kid was, man, I mean, you know, you go back and think, man, how great of a team could you guys have been had he been healthy that year?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's got to
I had a good bet on them, too, out in Vegas that year. I had put a decent amount of money on them, and I got them at like 12-1 or something. And there was a point where I'm thinking, man, we're going to be really, really good. Yeah. And then that happened, and that was all history. But
it's the same. It was the same thing with Zion. You know, I mean, when you guys,
I never really thought that team was going to be that good though, because they couldn't shoot.
Well, so when you guys played Kentucky to open the season up,
well, now that very first game,
I said, "Oh my God, they're going to go 100 fucking feet."
Yeah, they.
I remember saying that. Like, I remember texting my buddy Rob, like, "Are you watching this shit, dude? This." Is not going to be fair.
Yeah, you know it was scary. They look like the Globetrotters in that game.
They just, I mean, and, you know, not to be outdone, Kentucky had a roster full of NBA talent.
They were really good by the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, they had, I think, P.J. Washington was on that team? No, he wasn't on that team. Was he?
I don't remember. No. They do the same thing we do.
The kid that the, Hornets drafted. I can't think of his name. He was from Kentucky.
Oh, Gilchrist? No. Oh, no, I know you're talking about the shooter. I can't think of it.
Yeah, he's balling out right now. So, well, let's go ahead and
Well, what about this week 17?
This week 17. Let's talk about week 17 then, man. All right, so we got everything set up, man. Let's start it off with the game of the week. The Cleveland Browns at the Bengals.
Oh, my God. The game of the week.
First game of
Okay, so this brings me to my first medieval torture method. Public stoning. Public stoning was a thing, you know, where they would take a offender of some kind, whatever they deemed to be an offender, and they would tie them to a post in the middle of town, and everybody would come and they'd bring your kids, and then you get to throw rocks at the person until they were dead.
Okay.
That would be more fun than watching the Browns and Bengals.
Woof. Yeah. Yeah.
My pick's going to be the Browns, and I'm not going to watch this game.
Yeah. This game reminds me of a story that, you know, we tell often at the bar when we talk about these two teams. And that, you know, the couple that comes in from Cincinnati, they're big Cincinnati fans, and they have 3 sons. And the youngest son asked her, said, "Mom, can I talk to you?" And I don't know. Have I told the story? Have I told the story here?
I think so, but I'm not sure. You can tell it again.
So she said, he said, "Mom, can I talk to you?" She said, "Oh my God, please tell me you're not gay." And he goes, "No, I'm a Browns fan." And she goes, "You are gay." You are gay. She's a Bengals fan. But I'm going to go ahead and go with the Browns this week. I mean, there's not really much to talk about in this game, as the Browns will be trying to play to maybe just shut the media up a little bit. I think Odell Beckham I mean, even though he's on the contract for what, 2 more seasons?
Yeah.
So I don't think
Can't watch this game.
I don't think we're going to see any movement in the offseason. A lot of people keep saying that he's gone. Surprisingly, he's the only one not really making any noise.
Yeah,
So,
that's
but
it.
anyway, not much to talk
weird
about
game.
here, man. I'm going with the Browns, man. Who you taking in this game?
I'm taking the Browns.
Okay. All
I'd
right.
rather take a public Stony.
All right, man. Let's move it over to the Chicago Bears at the Minnesota Vikings.
That's some kind of game, isn't it? I'm gonna take the Vikings at home.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I just think they're a more well-rounded team. Bears bogged down offensively a lot and they refuse to run the ball.
They do.
Are the Vikings getting Dalvin Cook back this week?
Not to my knowledge.
I wouldn't play him.
I wouldn't play him if
did,
he did.
yeah.
I mean, I don't think they've locked up the 6th seed, so there's not much in winning this game, really, and man, what's going on with Kirk Cousins though, man? Have you
He just can't win a Monday night game.
how are you going to win in the playoffs?
I don't know that you
the
can.
stakes don't get any bigger than the playoffs. I mean, can't win a Monday night.
No.
Yeah, so the national
Ethan, so you think that you're also taking the
Yeah, I'm
Vikings?
gonna go with the Vikings, man. Chicago, like you said, I mean, we've said it every week. They just refuse to run the ball. I wouldn't expect them to run more than 14, 15 times. And you just can't win football games if you don't run it.
I agree with you. Yeah,
so-
I agree. I think that game, of course, that game's going to hold some appeal to people in the area. It's a big rivalry, division game, whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't remind me of a medieval torture device, but it's still not a great watch.
Right. The over-under in that game is 36.5 points.
The game's kind of like deer hunting as a sport. Only one team really knows their play. As the Vikings don't care. They don't care. Why would they care? They got nothing to play for.
Only one time like
Yeah,
that,
right.
man. Oh, man. Well, speaking of deer hunting, I think I'm going to try to go bag my first one this week with a bow.
All right.
Man, this weekend, man. So we'll see how it works out.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, man. Let's take it over to the Colts at the Jags.
Ugh.
Yeah, this is a game that nobody really should be watching. The over-under in this game is surprisingly over 40 points. It's 43 points. Neither one of these teams just have been consistent all year. We know what the problem with the Jags are. They won't use Fournette. I don't know why you draft a running back in the first round. First off, right? And then especially if you're not going to use them.
Makes little sense.
I mean, they took him 6th overall, and there was a couple quarterbacks that they probably could have taken. I mean, they're starting Gardner Minshew now. You spent all that money to get Nick Foles. You got 2 decent receivers in D.D. Westbrook and DJ Chark, our show's favorite. But at home, I'm going to go with the Colts, man, as they dug my boys out last week, and they just seem they can score, and I'm not confident that the Jags can, even though they're at home.
Yeah, man, I'll take the Colts in this one. You know what else you need Colts for? For the medieval torture of drawn and quartered. That's where they would take 4 horses. They would tie ropes to a saddle around them or
Okay.
something like that, and then they would tie one to the offender's each of their hands and each of their feet.
Okay.
And then they would make a loud noise and spook the horses into running as
Opposite directions.
Yeah. Just tearing the person limb from limb.
What was
And
that?
you do need Colts for that. If you have someone being drawn and quartered in your village this weekend on Sunday, go see that. Don't watch the Colts and Jags. Awful game.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take the Colts.
What was that video that we used to watch as kids? Do you remember that? That was all of these like death videos.
Faces of Death.
Faces of Death.
Yeah.
I've seen that on there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not pleasant.
No.
Most of it occurred in a time before film.
Yeah, that
Thankfully.
that made it somehow or another. All right, man. We're rolling through these first 3 games. Haven't been great. This one's not going to be any better as the Falcons will be hosted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who have, as the last 3 weeks, I mean, I saw the last week's drumming that they took, but they had been on fire offensively. I remember we talked about, I was brought up Rashard Perryman, and hell, he made it into a championship game, I saw. So he actually stunning. And, I remember Stats saying, who? I'm like, well, dude, you better take notice. So, I'm going to go with my new favorite team, the Falcons. However, it wouldn't shock me if the Bucks went.
Yeah, I hear you, man. You know the Buccaneers used to have that little man on their helmets. They had a feather, feather on his hat, and all, had a knife in his mouth. And he always seemed like a Frenchman to me. They just seemed like he would wee, I don't know. Seemed like a Frenchman. So that leads me to the medieval torture device. This is more of a killing machine, or the guillotine, because this is a very French way to kill people. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with the guillotine. It's not a secret. It's painless and quick. About as painless and quick as it would be for me to turn the channel if my TV lands on this game. I'm going to take the Buccaneers because of their French connection, which I made up, really. It's only a French connection in my mind, but my mind's the mind that's making this pick, so I'm going to pick the Bucks.
Well, it's a 47.5 over and under game, so it should be some offense here. And like I said, neither one of these teams have. Actually, the Falcons have been playing pretty good, too.
I did hear last week, there's something that shocked me. It said that Jameis Winston has the highest QBR in the league while on the run.
He also has the most interceptions in the league and the most passing yards.
That's wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
I still think, next year if they could grasp Arian's system a little more, his system's really good. Yeah, as evidenced by his quarterback leading the league in passing yards on a team that's certainly not built the way he wants to build them. Yeah. But I really like that hire. It was one of my favorite coach hires in the last few seasons. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's
think
a
next
player's
year.
coach.
Yeah, next year I think you might could see the Bucks take a step up.
Yeah, they're gonna have to. They're gonna have to do something that they hadn't done in a very long time, man, and find a running back. Mm-hmm. That was their problem this year.
Yeah, it really was. Ronald Jones really doesn't scare anybody.
Peyton Barber, neither.
No. If they had a big stud back there, that would really help.
It would help a lot.
I agree.
So,
all right, so we're splitting this one.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, alrighty. All right, man. So the Washington Redskins will be traveling down to Dallas, where Dallas is a 10.5-point favorite. Over-under is 44.5 points. Dallas desperately needs this game to win this game to even have a shot at the playoffs, depending on what happens in the next game we're talking about, which will be the Eagles and the Giants. But I'm going to go with the Cowboys because, Haskins isn't going to be playing this week.
No. You got to like the Cowboys just because the extra motivation that they'll have to try to make the playoffs. Nothing would tickle me more than to see the Redskins spoil their season. That was growing up around here when I was a kid. Before we got the Panthers, the Redskins were on TV, and the Redskins Cowboys was always kind of like as big as a Super Bowl for me because I loved the Redskins and just hated the Cowboys. Only one of those things is true today. I don't love the Redskins anymore, but I still hate the Cowboys. But this game. It should be an entertaining watch just because there's got to be at least 2 or 3 guys on either sideline that understand what I grew up seeing. They had parents who grew up in this area or something like that and imparted to them, whatever you do, don't lose to the other team, whoever, whichever one you're not playing for. So that might be something. It might be a little extra violence. So it's going to avoid the moniker of a medieval torture device and just be a regular game that you could watch.
Yeah. Well, also, too, if you're from here, it's not been a great year for football because you're either rooting for the Cowboys, the Panthers, or the Redskins. And between the 3 teams are 15 wins.
Yeah, not enough.
And so it's not been fun football here, but, I think Dallas just has too much. They're at home, like you said, with the extra motivation. They should win this game. The Redskins, did you see Haskins went down last week? Did you see the play that he went down on?
I don't recall.
It wasn't much, which makes me think that he is just like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it was literally nothing. I mean, it didn't look like a tough tackle.
Well, the Redskins, once proud organization, is a mess.
Yeah, man. So I think the players have given up on that team, man. So I thought Haskins gave up last week. It didn't look like much was there. Of course, I didn't take the hit, but anyway, Cowboys. All right, man. Here's going to be a fun game. Saints at the Panthers.
Yeah, man.
Saints are a 13-point favorite. 46.5, 46 over and under.
And they're going to be playing people.
Yeah, Saints need to win this game.
Right. You got to like the Saints in this game.
Well, you kind of have to. Against a rookie quarterback who did not look good last week against the Colts, a team he should have looked good against. Our special teams looked horrible. Our defense looked horrible. Our unis look good, though.
Yeah, unis look good.
So I think we will be the better of the two looking teams. However, I would take the Saints to cover all day long.
Yeah,
I think that's an easy money game right there.
Yeah,
13 points. They're definitely better than 2 touchdowns.
I agree, and they can get back to a more balanced kind of attack than what they've had the last few weeks too, because they went ahead and got the record for Mike Thomas, got the records for Breeze,
right?
And get back more to using Kamara and doing the things that they really like to do.
Sure.
The Panthers face a whole lot of off-season questions, but we've got all off-season to talk about that, so we'll save some of that talk. But this will be a merciful end to a painful Panthers season. I saw a locker room interview with Greg Olson just saying that this was just a bad year. He didn't sugarcoat anything. I love him. He's one of my favorite players in the league, but he didn't sugarcoat anything about it. He said it's unacceptable. The fans around here, this is a holiday season, and he mentioned that their fans deserve something to talk about and something to be excited about during this time of year, and they're not giving it to them.
They have not. I mean, they've given us a lot to talk about, but it ain't what they want us to be talking about.
Right.
On a brighter note, though, if you don't have anything to do Sunday, you can mosey down to Charlotte and probably get in the game for about $15.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, $5 on a bowl of gumbo will get you in.
I mean, and if you really want to get cute and sit in the Silver Club, throw an extra 15 at the problem, and have liquor bar right there. I think there's Wendy's in there.
Or you can come to the Century ParK Tavern and watch the game where there will be one magical pinhead
It probably
bartender.
costs you about the same.
Yeah, I'll be.
Are you going to be?
I'll be behind the bar, slinging drinks at you.
Okay, that's what's up. So you on this Sunday?
I am, man. A rare Sunday shift for the Pinhead.
Awesome, man. Well, I guess there's really not much more to talk about in this game, huh?
Nah.
Yeah, that just didn't work. There we go. There we go. All right, let's try that again. There it is.
Oh, boy.
All right, the Eagles at the G-Man.
Man, the Eagles really badly need this game, don't they?
They are a 4.5-point favorite in a game that is set to score 45 plus or minus. The Eagles have to win. They're on the road.
I'll take the Giants.
You're going to take the G-Men?
Yeah, I'll take the Giants.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Eagles as they were my Super Bowl pick. So I need them to make it to the playoffs just to have a chance.
Well, they were my Super Bowl pick, too.
Just to have a chance to say I was right. So I'm going to root for them this week. However, I wouldn't be shocked if they lost this game. They seem to play to their competition.
They do, and unless the competition's really, really good.
Well, I mean, they should. I mean, they throttled Dallas. And Dallas, I mean, on paper, but they lost Ertz, the only healthy receiver who's a tight end.
Yeah.
And still won that game.
Yeah, they did. I don't know, man. I think the Giants playing at home will play with a lot of pride, And
they're going to be a good team.
Yeah, I mean, it was. Daniel Jones threw 5 touchdowns last weekend. I think that's very few rookies have ever done that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's strong.
Yeah.
Duke's Daniel Jones.
I like it. I love it. The Steelers are going to be at Baltimore. Baltimore will be starting RG3. The Ravens are a 2-point favorite, even with Robert at the helm, and over under 37.5.
And Steelers have to have it.
They have to have
I'm taking the Steelers.
I can't do it.
Just motivation and having your starters in.
Yeah, I can't do it, man. Anytime your quarterback gets benched and they put in his backup and then they bench that dude and put you back in, I mean, they're just so that's a problem. That's a problem.
No, it totally is, man. I'm banking mostly on Mike Tomlin and motivation.
Well, one thing that you can say about the Steelers and what they do well, what they do better than any team, is they put you in position to make a mistake. They don't win a whole lot of games. They stick around and let you lose the game. You know what I mean?
I do.
And that's what they've been doing all year. However, the Ravens. I'm sorry, Siri wants to get in. She said something about margaritas.
I heard her say something about freedom.
And freedom. Yeah, margaritas are freedom. I just think even with Robert Griffin III in, I think the Ravens offense is just too powerful. I'm going to take Baltimore at home, even though they don't need this game.
Okay, well, we differ on that.
All right. We've got the Jets, Jets traveling to Buffalo, where they are a 1.5-point dog in a game that's set over and under 36.5 points, man. You know how I feel about these Bills.
They're locked in, right?
Yeah.
So are they going to play everybody, or have you heard?
Well, no, actually, I hadn't heard. Because honestly, you know, my morale has been a little shot, you know. I didn't bring this up early, man. I've tried that NFL fantasy this year, the NFL Network fantasy.
Right.
And we just wanted to see what that platform was about. And I made it to the championship game, and I lost by 4 points. And that just really just...
It took the
It
wind
just
out
soured
of
my
your sails.
grapes. Yeah, you know, just the Tar Babies didn't do good. You know, the franchise boys, we've been on the struggle bus, but the Naked Meat All Stars really had a chance, and we lost by 4 points, man, because you know Dalvin Cook had my stud was out, and anyway. So honestly, I hadn't heard, man, but I think that they will, as they need to play their players. I don't know, man. Let me.
I'm going to take the Jets.
Okay. Let's see something here. You're going to go with the Jets.
Yeah, the Jets, I think second half of the season showed some flashes of being a pretty decent football team.
They have.
You know, and in week 17, some years it plays out right for me, some years it doesn't, but I almost always go with the motivated team, the team that needs it.
Sure.
You know, because I mean, there's just so much talent in that league. You're not in that league unless you're a great football player. Period. You know, I mean, you've gone from high school to college to the pros. You're a great football player, and those dudes a little bit of extra motivation. You know, that really sometimes can play in. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to take.
So here's motivation
I'm
for
going to
you.
take the Jets on the road.
The Bills have a chance to win 11 games, which would be the first time in 20 years. Sean McDermott did announce that they will play their starters on Sunday.
Oh, that's a bad move.
Well, you know, he's, you know.
What do you get? I mean, you take 11 wins and $2.50, you can get a cup of coffee. I mean, it's, you know, I mean, what, 11 wins? Ooh, do you remember back in the day? Boy, man, the 2019, 2020 season, those Bills won 11 games. Who cares? That's not a thing. That's not if that's what he's using to motivate his team and to put his starters at risk of injury, then good for him, man. That seems crazy to me.
Well, it gives him a chance to sweep the Bills, development one more week.
Sweep the Jets.
The Jets, I'm sorry. Another week of development. And, I mean, it's not like they're going up against a hard-nosed... The run defense in the Jets is good. Let's not kid ourselves there, but I don't think they're a very hard-nosed defense. I kind of agree with you there, but I don't know, man. I'm going to go with my Bills. I'm just going to take the Bills, man.
Drive for 11. I remember that was their rallying cry at the beginning of the season. Like, we're going for 11, and the whole crowd was like, yeah, and they ate wings and did their thing, man. You know, I
mean, dude, you know, there's only a couple things.
Drive for 11. Do you realize it's been 20 years since we've won 11 games?
It's been a lot of years since they've done a lot of positive things.
Right.
So,
right,
you know.
Yeah. I think that a win in the playoffs with a healthy starting lineup would probably go a lot longer to keeping your coaching tenure going than winning 11 games.
So they're going to be more than likely the 5 seed, so they'll play the 3. Correct? The 3 will play the 5, and the 4 will play the 6. Or the 3 play the 4 and the 5.
The 3 play the 6.
And the 4 plays the 5.
Right.
So the 4th seed would be Kansas City.
I don't know.
Kansas City actually has a chance to be number 2 seed, depending on how this game goes.
There's still so many scenarios on there.
Well, we shall see. All right. We'll split that one.
All right.
Oh, shit. Let's see.
Shoo.
There we go. All right. We have the Miami Dolphins at the New England Patriots. So the Patriots are a 15.5-point favorite.
Ooh, that seems like a lot, doesn't it?
It really does. And over under is 44.5 points.
I certainly like the Dolphins to cover.
Yeah. Yeah, I think once they get, I mean, I know one thing about Belichick. I mean, they could win this game. I mean, they've got a 2 seed locked in right now, but they do need to win to keep that 2 seed because there's a chance that if Kansas City wins, they had a tiebreaker. So I think if they get up enough, they'll take their foot off the gas and put in some other players. So I'm gonna go with New England, but I'm with you. I would take Miami to cover.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Patriots too. Defense is really good. Should keep them in this game. I don't look for a whole lot of excitement in this football game, but you know the Dolphins always play them tough.
They do, but
And it's kind of their Achilles heel, you know.
we talked about this 2 weeks ago, and we've already got our 5 games out of Fitzmagic. So
Yeah, that time's passed. So yeah, I'm going to take the Patriots, but it wouldn't shock me if the Dolphins won.
no, I don't think it would. Okay. That just it doesn't work that. There he goes. All right. Next game we've got the Green Bay Packers at Detroit, and again they have to play.
Yeah.
Green Bay has to play, so the 2 seed is up for grabs. The
You
1
gotta
seed
like
is
the
up for
motivated Packers.
grabs. Yeah. So, and this, I mean, you know, the Packers were a 12.5-point favorite. Over under 43 points. Again, there's not a whole lot to talk about in this game. I mean, this is probably going to be beat down city as the Detroit Lions are just beat all the hell on the offensive side of the ball. I love Green Bay to cover.
Yeah, man, that seems like a lopsided affair to me.
Yeah.
Lions pretty much they got to be thinking about the beach now, you know.
Yeah. When do we get to leave Detroit?
Yeah, right. I'm so thirsty for some water I can drink. Nah, I'm sorry. That's terrible. I feel bad about that, man. But I mean, really, I don't feel all that bad about it.
Oh, that's good stuff, man. That's Rosie over 2. Hey, this is a good game for at least the Titans. The Titans are going to be at Tennessee. The Titans need this game. I thought the Titans were a better team, and then they took that L. Of course, you know, losing Derrick Henry, who will be there this week, definitely did hurt them. So he will be healthy. The Texans do not need this game.
I heard that he was gonna play everybody anyway for Houston. And again, seems like a terrible move, man.
I mean, if J.J. Watt's going to play.
Yeah,
Which is
Watt.
okay.
No. Watt can't play this week because he has to be out 8 weeks.
Okay.
But he will be able to play in the playoffs.
Okay.
But they were talking about playing Watson, who's still nursing a slight injury. Why, man?
Yeah.
Why would you play Deshaun Watson?
I don't know.
It makes no sense to me. But
I don't know why you would play. If you don't have to win, I mean, the difference in the AFC and the 5 and the 6 isn't as big as it is in the NFC, in my opinion.
Well, I agree.
I think the NFC. Well, I mean, as long as you're not facing the 1 seed Baltimore in the first round, you're pretty much set. I mean, I think everybody else is beatable. Mm-hmm. You know. Anyway, I'm gonna go with the Titans, man.
Man, that's a tough one for me. I think the Texans are a better team, but I'm going to go with motivation, and I'm going to go with the Titans as well. They should have more motivation than Texas.
And I think
the Texans shouldn't play Deshaun Watson.
But I think the first time that you see some type of trouble, you'll see, like, okay, let's get this kid out of here. I mean, because the dude
but
does
the first sign of trouble sometimes is a torn ACL.
Yeah, sometimes.
I mean, I just don't see it with that kid. He is the future, and he's already complaining about a little nagging injury. And
Didn't he puncture a lung again this year?
Man, see, he's not the sturdiest of all, and I just
Well, they don't
terrible
protect
for
him well.
They've started to better
Yeah.
as that line gel, but no,
Sure,
you're right. It's
but-
still not an elite offensive line.
No, I mean, you don't want that. I mean, he's going to move in and out of the pocket. He's going to take some hits because he runs the ball. So you can't really protect him down the field anyway. But I'm with you. I wouldn't play him. I think the first time that there's a sign of trouble, I think they're going to pull him out the game.
I wouldn't play him. I wouldn't play Nuke.
I wouldn't
Probably wouldn't play Fuller.
I wouldn't play anybody.
No.
I'd play some fans.
Yeah.
In a game that we didn't have to win, if we've already solidified our playoff invitation, let's just make it to the playoffs. Let's be as healthy as we can be, and let's game play for the.
Yeah, and this
play
other
for that.
team, the team we're playing, is quite possibly going to be in the playoffs with us. Let's don't show them anything.
Right.
Show them anything.
No, I'm with you. All right. All right. Here's a good game. The Chargers at the Chiefs. Chiefs are 8.5
We're making
point
the best of a bad situation, folks.
Chiefs are 8.5 point favorite. Over under is 44.5 points. I believe there's going to be a lot of. I think that we can see a lot of points scored in this game. However, I mean, we've said it every week, man. The Chargers are just done. We've seen the best days of Phillip Rivers. He showed us a couple weeks of flashes of the old man Rivers he used to be, but they just don't have enough firepower to beat these Chiefs, man. And these Chiefs have to win because they could possibly slide up to a 2 seed.
Yeah, and they've put it together. They've got it going on. They've got an MVP at quarterback. Everybody's talking about Lamar Jackson's the MVP. Well, not yet. He's not. This kid's still the MVP, and he's slinging the ball at all angles. Mm-hmm. They got it going on, man. But to me, just looking, I don't know. I don't study teams, the combine workouts and all this, but they seem to be just the fastest team by a mile. Yeah. Don't they? I mean, offensively, they are fast. And hell, they're fast defensively, too. But they are offensively, they are smoking hot, man. Yeah. And, again, the Chargers are really showing their age. You didn't get hardly anything out of Melvin Ingram over the last few weeks that you would have thought. It seems like a change is needed. Might kind of be a thing for Rivers maybe to move on. Kind of pull a Joe Montana. Montana was successful when he went to the Chiefs. He was 1 game away from the Super Bowl. So I mean, for Phillip Rivers to get 1 game away from the Super Bowl would be a huge deal.
I mean, Brett Favre, same deal.
He 1 game away.
Yeah. So sometimes change is good, man. And they definitely need to be thinking about the future in that organization. But it doesn't start this Sunday, as they're going to get hammer timed. So
yeah, I think it's the Chiefs.
Excuse me there. All right, this is a game, man. I really don't know what to think of it, man, because your team, the Arizona Cardinals, are going to be in L.A. facing the Rams. Man, the freaking Cardinals look good last week. Now, granted, Carson went out early in that game. However, they still look good. And
man, I'm telling you, man, and I've said it all on. Maybe I hadn't harped on it enough all year, but Kyler Murray is going to be a baller, man. I mean, I'm scouting him. That's what I said before our episodes before the season started. Been scouting him and quarterbacks, which I've done for 21 seasons hard since I've started playing fantasy. He does everything as well or better than everybody except be tall. Mm-hmm. I mean, I really believe in him, and I think with the Rams, they've got it's been a Super Bowl hangover. Yeah. And I think that the Cards right now are the motivated team out of these two. I think the Rams are more apt, a bunch of veterans, more apt to really lick their wounds and look around them and realize, gee whiz, we committed a lot of money here. This thing may be a downward slide from here on out. He's got to sign Marcus Peters, got to do several different things. I think the Cards come in all fired up, full of youth, and I'm gonna take Arizona, man.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I just don't know what team you're going to see with either one of them. However, what I have liked the most from Arizona here lately is the utilization of Kenyon Drake. The kid,
boy, he's been great, hasn't he?
Been balling, and we like a good running back on this show. And I didn't think he was a bad running back when he was in Miami. He was just in Miami. I know it.
He flew under my radar a little bit coming out of college because he didn't get, he didn't get a whole lot of time at Alabama. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's Alabama. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like Miles Sanders. It's kind of like Miles Sanders behind Saquon Barkley.
Right. Right. Yeah. I just didn't know that much about him, or Priest Holmes behind Cedric Benson.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Which was clearly unexplainable how. I mean, when they got into the league, they just looked like two different people.
That's the one thing that I hold against Ozzie Newsome, the general manager of the Ravens.
Okay.
Well, because I think he does the best job in the draft. I think they do a great job in free agency as well. Mm-hmm. But to have let Priest Holmes go, that was a mistake. That's a mistake.
That dude was a monster.
It was a mistake.
He was a monster, man. Cedric Benson was a monster in college, man. He screwed me over.
You told that story.
He screwed me over, man, and
you had some family members of his or something sitting near you telling you about it. Dude, this guy's gonna be the man.
Yeah, man. I just recall him stumping on people's chest here and there,
but he was no Priest Holmes, as it turned out.
No. So anyway, I think the consensus is out, man. We're both gonna go with the
Cardinals
there. because we are a bird-friendly show.
Yes,
All
we love
right.
birds. You know what kills a lot of birds?
Windmill.
Windmills.
Yeah.
They kill almost all of the bald eagles. You want to see a bald eagle graveyard? Find a windmill.
Do we have any local windmills? 'Cause I need to
I
check.
sure hope not. You know, there's no way that birds could die flying into like buildings.
You think we
or,
can get Rumpelstiltskin in on this conversation? Get his take.
I'm gonna get Don Quixote. He was always a windmill guy.
All right, but let's move it over to Oakland at the Broncos. Let's see. Oakland's a 3.5 point favorite here. Let's see. I'm sorry. Denver's a 3.5 point favorite here at home. Over under 41 points, man. Man, I tell you what, dude. The Broncos have been playing really good football lately. This isn't a great game to watch, I don't think, but I'm gonna take the Bronx, man. They've been running the ball better with Lindsey. Lindsey's kind of slid into that role as a solidified number one. Drew Lock he's done enough. You know, even with the loss of Emmanuel Sanders, they still have been able to move the ball. That kid Noah Font is looking pretty good. And then the Raiders are I just don't trust Gruden.
Nah,
Sorry.
Me either, man.
I'm sorry.
You ever heard of the Iron Maiden?
Yes.
It was a medieval torture device. It was, for those of you who don't know, it was a kind of a coffin or sarcophagus-shaped creation, and on the door swung open on hinges, and on the inside of the front door were the huge spikes that were placed. Some of them even had movable spikes, so you could place them in lethal and or non-lethal spots, so that when you put a person inside and shut the door, they were skewered by these spikes. I think I would rather endure the Iron Maiden than watch this football game. Yeah, so that was my final medieval torture device of the week, which, if anybody wants to talk to me, you know our email address, and we can talk about medieval torture devices. I'm interested.
The Pinhead Podcast at Gmail.
That's it, man. I'm going to take the Broncos at home. But again, I would much rather endure the Iron Maiden in non-lethal doses.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, hey, man.
Isn't that something?
Let's move over to a real football game.
Okay.
And this is actually the game of the week. The 49ers will be at Seattle. Seattle has never lost to the 49ers at home since Russell Wilson has been there. He's 8-0.
I heard that.
He's 8-0. However, you know, just with the loss of their running game, you know, and how consistent the 49ers have been and inconsistent the Seahawks have been, I've got to take the 49ers, man. It pains me to say that because, you know, we didn't get to do our show last week. You know, 2 weeks ago, I finally said I believe in Jimmy. I believe. And I don't believe in him anymore. I was right. I don't know. We was drinking moonshine or something by the time we started talking about that game. But I think that he's going to do enough to win this game. Over under is 47 points. I don't think it's going to be that high of a scoring game. But I think the 49ers are doing enough to win this game.
I like the 49ers to beat this depleted Seahawks team. It's not the team you think you're going to see. I mean, you're trotting out an old guy like Lynch that hadn't played in forever, and they just on raw emotion and having beast mode back and all. Maybe they keep it close in the first half. I think eventually that the 49ers defense, which is really. It's really traveled most all year, you know. I mean, they gave up a whole bunch of points to the Saints, but they won that game. So they've been pretty consistent. They haven't really had a dog. You know, pretty much every one of the other top contenders in the NFC has had at least one game where they just look bad, you know, and the 49ers really haven't. You know, if you can point to one and maybe two plays in the games they lost, that if they had gone another way, they would have won those games. They'd be undefeated. They didn't get blown out by anybody.
No, they didn't.
So I'm going to go with their consistency here over what I think will be maybe a little bit of off-kilter Seattle team. Just missing playmakers, man. You can't make up for that.
Okay. All right. Well, real quick, man, I'm going to pause this thing. All right, and we're back, man. We had to pause for the calls, man. So let's go ahead and wrap this thing up, man, before we get out of here. Penn, anything that you want to bring to our...
Yeah, man, I'd like to say that beyond me slinging drinks at the tavern this coming Sunday for football, which everybody should attend because I'm just a peach. I think that the biggest thing we got coming up after that is a New Year's Eve bash at the tavern, playing for tips. A free show for the two-time Outlaw Country Duo of the Year nominees, the Barnyard Stompers, bringing it back to Kernersville, first time in a little bit. Man, that's going to be a get-down. And then after that, on Saturday the 11th, it'll be my birthday bash at the tavern featuring Jesse Ray Carter Duo, which always bring the bluesy heat. You're going to hear a bunch of Howlin' Wolf. You're going to hear a bunch of Muddy Waters, Screaming Jay Hawkins, the old good stuff, man. It's soul food for the ears. And you're going to have to really, if you ought to come out to that one, Reg, they throw it down, man. I ain't lying. It is some bluesy stuff, man. And everybody come out. And the last show I had, the band A Few Miles South, we promoted on here a little bit. Everybody that came out, I think, had a blast. And I want to thank everybody that did show up because that group just can't be missed. And next time, I think next time they play, I'll probably sell that thing out right quick because everybody was overly impressed with that bunch. They heaped the compliments on it. So there's that. It's a little musical entertainment for you coming up in the next couple weeks. So hope to see you guys out.
Brought to you from Pinhead Entertainment, man. That's right, buddy.
Yes, sir. Pretty work.
All right, man. We'll make sure we have that information in our description of this podcast. And you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, IG, or on any of your favorite podcast streaming apps.
Can you swipe right on us on Tinder?
Ooh. We should do that.
I didn't even know.
And next week we'll be on Tinder.
And I want to, when we're, we're trying to save some of our better ideas for when football is all said and done, I still think that the three-way, or we can even include CMAC and make it four of us, the Wonderlic test should certainly be taken, because that would be great, because then we can compare who we are as smart as in the NFL.
Right. So when I call that guy an idiot, I can truly say I'm smarter than him because
I scored a 23. He had a 6.
Right.
Frank Gore, we're looking at you. Rashad Penny as well. I think Penny had an 11. I'm betting I got an 11 by the 12th question. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm inflating my self-worth. I'm just betting. By the 15th question, easily. Yeah, I've got 11. Yeah. Oh boy!
You take 10 and stop. Hey, you can be smarter than that. I only did the first 10.
Yeah, I just stopped. Man. I know.
Just wanted to sound smarter than you, Frank. That's it, man.
Once I got to 7, I stopped.
Right, man.
But we'll do that. We'll have a lot of other fun shenanigans coming up too.
Yeah, man. We're gonna keep this thing rolling, man. And again, we appreciate each and every one of you downloading, sharing, and supporting the comments and all of the feedback that we get when we see you in public, man. So, we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up for the absent Stat G and my man Pinhead. This is your boy Reggie Noble saying peace.
Cheers.
Hey, now walk it out. Now walk it out. We back at it again, baby. DJ Montana Trey, this the remix. Jim Jones, Andre 3 Stay, Daddy Fat Say, this your one. Now walk it out. 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 Now west side walk it out. Now south side walk it out. East side walk it out. North side walk it out.
Walk it out like a usher. If you say real talk, I probably won't trust you. If you want to go to war, the gun's my pleasure. Even Jesus had 12 disciples on the level. Trigger, whatever. You don't want now, they get 3,000. I'm like jury duty. You're new to this part of town. Your white tee, well, to me, look like a nightgown. Make your mama proud. Take that thing 2 sizes down. Then you look like the man that you are, or what you could be. I can give a damn about your car, but then I would be if it was considered a classic before the drastic change in production when cars were metal instead of plastic. Value is what I'm talking about. Take 2 of these and walk it out. You'll be the reason they chalk it out. You can't be the king in the parking lot forever. Not saying I'm the best, but till they find something better, I am here, no fear. Write me a letter. Till then, I walk it out. 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 I west side walk it out. I west side walk it out. I west side walk it out. Then east side walk it out.
I walked it out the bank with a lot of zeros. That's what my teachers call me. Predictions like they Cleo. So I did my dance for them. They make my 40,000. I do that in a month. I'm on resorts and islands. I made them walk it out. Yeah, it's me again. But I'm with Jones, Daddy nationwide, homie. You still at home, homie, with no promotions on me. Man, that's baloney, homie. The album off and stole. I'm beating down your block. Now go and walk it out. They still on my job. Now walk it out. 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 Hey, don't holla at me. You know how we get it up here. Eastside walk it out. Bronx walk it out. Queens walk it out. You know Brooklyn walk it out. Now Harlem walk it out. Harlem walk it out. Harlem walk it out. Harlem walk it out. Now we don't walk it out. We drop top, Porsche it out. I hopped out, floss it out. I bring my Air Forces out. I'm blowing purple smoke. I cough it out. Ball it up, then ball it out. Tap the bottle, pour it out. Now do the fade away and throw some paper away, and we can skate away. Tell the ops I'll be late today. Oh, I can thug it out, or star it out. I take a trip with my bitch and Louis luggage out. I'm talking Magic City, or even Body Tap. You know that money, anything we throw 1,000 stacks. Oh yeah, we toss it out. You know I'm talking about. When Captain Status in the house, you know New York is out. Now walk it 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 out. Westside walk it out. Southside walk it out. Eastside walk it out. Northside walk it out.
I walk it out like that last shot of yak at the club, cause the package store is closed and I'm attached to my buzz. Been slamming Cadillac doors, you know what it would, cuz stay jamming everything platinum, check the status, cuz what's up? Been me with diamond, but that don't mean shit. Designing 5-rhyme patterns since I was 17, kids. On Southern playalistic intro, listen close to peaches. She said nothing but king shit all day, and there you bitches. It's like I'm at the dentist, cause everybody got crowns. I'll change to ace of spades, cutthroats and won't bow down. Nah, the king, queen, or jack fade. This come clean, son, swing from a sack like my babies. Acting like you crazy. Daddy fat don't like that misbehaving. 8 times up and deuces down and something else that big creator tell. Oop, get the dunk, clear the booth. It's now official, dropping bombs like a North Korean nuclear missile. I walk it out.
Now walk it out. Now walk it out. Now walk it out. Now walk it out. Now walk it out.